Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Well, happy Monday again.
Yeah, almost the end of July.
Oh my gosh, yes. This time of year, I'm starting to look forward to cooler temperatures that are still 2 months away.
I mean, this time of year, I'm starting to, I guess you could say, look forward to going back to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like.
Yeah.
I've been working all summer. But hey, it's a different kind of work, so
Everybody makes choices.
Yes,
You know,
yes. So
you got to do what you believe is your call.
well, yes. So we'll one day explore and dive into changing careers at the midlife crisis kind of thing. But
Sure.
Today I wanted to talk about something else. We've been hitting a lot on relationships.
Yes, we have.
The last few episodes, and I guess it's because I think it crosses a lot of different areas, and whether you're young or young at heart doesn't matter. And I was wondering, because this was a big deal in the divorce group. What do you think would probably be the biggest killer of relationship?
I don't know, maybe money?
Okay. What if I told you that most people assume that the biggest killer of relationships is actually infidelity?
Really?
Would you believe that? I mean, is that
I guess now that I think about it, there's some high statistic. I guess that makes.
Because I would argue that infidelity is a non-negotiable.
Yes.
If you cheat on me, we're done. I mean, it's happened a couple of times to me, and if that's the way you're going to address the issues that our relationship has, then we're done.
Right.
But that was my original thought, my opinion. Is again based on a lot of my experience through the divorce group. Most people were there as a result of infidelity.
Yeah.
But I did a little more digging, and I did a little more research, and I came across an interesting article, and it said that there are things worse than infidelity that will ruin or destroy your relationship.
Okay.
And when I started digging into it, it kind of came down to the idea that infidelity was a consequence, and that these other items actually were the biggest killers of the relationship long before infidelity actually became the issue. So infidelity might be a consequence, not a cause of relationship failure.
So the relationship is already failing before you get to the fidelity, is what you're suggesting.
Well, yes, and
I mean that makes some sense.
well, see, when I first the title of the article intrigued me, and so I read into it, and I we'll try and use better grammar here. I dove into what they were saying. I did a little independent exploration into this.
Okay.
And I found that, this person's perspective actually had, I thought, value.
Okay.
And when I started applying it to my relationship with Eric's mother, ta-da, it kind of fit. And so I thought maybe we could explore some of the things
Sure.
that could maybe cause our relationship to explode that led to maybe that infidelity, that final tick.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do my best. We haven't had this happen, so I don't know specific, but I do, of course, am around a lot of people that have had this happen. So,
Okay.
and some people have taken the approach that you initially mentioned, where you did it once, I'm done, and others have taken the approach of we can fix it. Some of those we can fix this approaches have worked, and some have. So I don't truly know what the answer is, but we can definitely explore the topic.
I think Yes. I don't know that I would necessarily have an answer. I think it's up to each individual.
Sure.
Like I say, for me, it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But you're right. Not everybody has that. And if yes, I think it comes down to Sherry has a favorite phrase. It's her response to just about any question. It depends. And so if you look at the facts,
I love that.
And
I don't know if that's the ultimate indifference or what.
Well, facts matter, and so to take it at surface level, so it might be a little more judgmental. So let's
awesome.
explore. Let's ask a few more questions, and so that's what we ought to do. So when there is infidelity or things that kill this relationship long before the cheating, some of the things that were discussed in this article include a decrease or lack of communication.
Sure.
That you're not talking to one another.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Oh, fine. You're getting a lot of, it's like talking to a teenager, when you're talking to your significant other. And
Right.
so even though cheating is, the reason for, the given reason, how many times do our relationships begin to fail long before the cheating because we stop?
Yeah. And I can definitely.
I mean, okay, when you talk to Eileen, what kind of things do you guys talk about?
I think it's like we've come across the memes that we've come across on social media. That's the thing nowadays, because you're not talking about the newspaper. We talk a little bit of politics, not at each other, but just in general.
Yeah.
We talk maybe whatever we're going to. We talk about going to Disney World or
Okay.
Disneyland,
Yeah.
or what our next thing to be, because that's the thing that we are to in the future, moving
Mhm.
forward through any of the tough time.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about a variety of things.
Do you talk about hopes and dreams?
Oh, we do. And I think some of that comes into the travel. We like to travel after having. So, we try to, and our dream that we talk about, it's not just,
Right.
although we would look at Disney into the world. But
Yeah.
for now, we do most of our world traveling through Epcot. But it's just, we definitely talk about an apartment we have for getting retiring. So, we talk about a variety.
Well, that's what they're saying in this article, and it matches my experiences as well. When we stop talking to each other about our wishes, our wants, our hopes, our dreams, talking about only surface level stuff, but not getting into our feelings, our wants, our dreams, we're no longer, now we're losing a lot of that intimacy that we used to have.
Yeah.
That brought us together, that kept us together in the beginning. Well, now we're drifting apart.
Well, I'm not much of an English teacher, but I can see that the relationship,
Yeah.
and so which gets down to communication. And if you're not communicating,
And
or
that's,
are you just roommates?
yes. And that's kind of what they're saying here. Another thing, and again, based on my personal experience, we talked before about, not necessarily in this podcast, but in others, about the role that money plays. And money plays a huge part, but how much actually is related to dollars and cents, budgeting, money coming in, money going out, and how much of it actually reflects an issue related to relational power, trust that you have with each other?
I'm going to say I'm of I think, different generation than today. We have separate all of our money. I'm not saying that because in my relationship, I have the really I purchase than sheets. So it's a little opposite, but I have to be mindful. But we kept all our money together. Nowadays, people, I can see that when you're into your 40s or a number of two individuals with long lives, or that might be a little. But when you're younger I think there's an element of trust in combining your accounts together. And I think that separating those people, we do have separate stuff, but ultimately you're going to have to pay them, and we pay them out of an account. Yeah. And so we communicate, and that's a problem. And
that's one of the things that I will say that became also a point of contention in first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
When Eric's mom, when we first moved here to the Dallas area, she was suddenly making more money than me.
Yeah.
And the number of times I heard her say, well, I'm making more money than you, so I get to have a bigger voice in how our money is spent. And it became a power issue. And she used it as a weapon rather than what it was meant to be, and that is a combined joint, let's work together concept. And she would go out and she would say, oh, well, look how much money I spent or how much money I saved. I mean, she'd come in with 3-4 bags of clothes and different things and knickknacks, what I would call a dustable, because all it did was collect dust that I would have to clean. And she'd go, oh, I saved hundreds of dollars. And I would look at her and I go, and how much money would you have saved if you hadn't spent anything at all?
Sure.
But it became a bit of a power struggle. And when that happens, it's not about budgeting. It's not about paying your bills. It's about who has more control. And it's a control issue. And now you're creating a gap, a wedge that can grow into the Grand Canyon. And now you're not, then it goes back to what we were saying before. You're not talking to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the problem. I think from the perspective, but I wonder if it's more about feeling like if I tell Eileen that then, how's that going to make her feel? I mean, just, I don't like, it's, where are we? Is this more your relationship? Am I part of this anymore? I think it makes people feel less than. That's a problem. If my money is your money, then it doesn't matter how much.
And that's, again, I agree with you. And that's where, like Sherry and I now do have separate accounts, but we can see into each other's accounts.
Sure.
And we transfer money back and forth to each other to pay for different. But at the same time, money is not as much of an issue. I think that I'm like you. I spend a little more money because I don't know that I got more shoes than her, but I definitely have more shirts and clothes than her. And
I'm not suggesting that, faulting me for that. She does make jokes about it occasionally.
Yeah, so does Sherry.
And I'm sure there's some feelings, some real feelings associated with those jokes. But on the flip side, I'm always saying, hey, we're in our 50s. Why aren't you buying the shoes? Why aren't you buying the clothes? And I literally try to make her go buy stuff and do things. I mean, we're not 20 anymore with 3 kids using the BT card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can live a little bit of luxury now. So, but you got to come to agreement. And if she wasn't in agreement with things that I want, disagreements come up.
Yeah.
We have to talk about this. And for me, a lot of times fixing that has meant I better some more money in another way. So the fact that I overspent, right? So, that's just me.
All right, something else that I'd like to throw out there. Okay. And I think this was also something that created a bit of a laissez-faire approach in marriage number 1, and that was routine.
Okay.
Our daily routine became so sedimentary. Get up, you do this, you do this, you do this, you come home, you go to bed. And there was not a lot of anything in between. It just became so routine, so lockstep. I think we lost a lot of the joy and happiness that life can offer. And instead we're focused on, I'm not exactly sure what we were focused on, but we had lost a lot of the excitement.
And I think that right there, that last statement you just made, I'm not even sure what we were focused on, is probably a big problem, right?
Okay,
I mean, if you don't have a direction, if you don't have a purpose, if you don't know what your relationship's about, then you're just like spinning in a whirlpool.
And that's, I look at a lot of folks when we were, Sharon and I talked a lot about, the disillusions of both of our marriages and try to keep that from happening again. And I think for both of us, we had gotten into the routine.
Yeah.
You know, kids here, kids there, go to work, take kids to this, take them to that. Oh, you go here. Oh, I'll take this one there. Oh, are you making dinner? Well, no, I'll just pick something up. Everything became kind of a chore. Everything became a routine. And so you lose that intimacy.
Yep.
And we begin to emotionally kind of disconnect from each other. And when you talk about, well, when I said about we lost what we were doing, I think some of it came down to our career and where we were going. For Eric's mom, she was trying to get tenure at the university. Well, she struggled and had a hard time on that tenure track. But yet for me, I was actually having a lot of success at my job. And I think that as my success grew and her success did not, I think there became a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah, I'm sure that different. You know, I kind of latched on to education career after my wife did.
Yeah.
And she had spent many years at home. I'm not going to classify it a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
Of, you know, her working very hard, having identity professionally outside of that. Not that that's not a great identity of itself, but she wanted something different, something more. And she went to college and degree, and she, a couple of years later, I didn't know what, I'm going to take that, you know, I did my things and had my successes. She had some struggles, her places of work, and I think she has felt at different times that I was more successful at it than I don't see that at all. I wouldn't teaching at all had she not done it.
Yeah.
So whatever success I have is entirely based on her having done it in the first place. But I think that people can get, and especially if you kind of brag about it.
Yeah.
That can be right, because then you're getting into that. We talked in a previous episode about comparing. I mean, don't compare your relationship to other relationships. Don't compare yourself to your spouse either.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
And that's what I think the article was discussing or trying to focus on, is that when you not only, I mean, first of all, if I feel that you're being more successful, and then that's kind of a me issue. If you're lauding it over me of how much more successful that you are over me,
right,
now it becomes an even bigger problem, and
but then it's not just you, right?
Yes.
Then it's the other person as well.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to, if somebody's struggling and having those feelings, you don't want to make them worse.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, so generally we're not responsible for the other person's feelings, but if you are definitely doing it in a way that is causing more, I mean, you're part of the problem.
And that's what they're again, from what I took from the article, that you need to support each other in your careers, because when your spouse, your partner has success in their job, then that is a family success. And and that is something that I have really enjoyed with Sherry. She has been moving up the chain in her company, and I have applauded her. She has worked so hard to achieve the level of success. She has a fantastic reputation within the company. People know her, and I mean, she is well respected.
Yeah, and that's excellent, right? And that's a great reflection on you as well to support that.
And yet she's been behind me too. All the success I have had in my public speaking with, promoting the book, Eric's Place,
Eric's Place of Hope.
No, that's the side business I want to start. Anyway, but the book, that I wrote about Eric and I and our family struggles, but everything, changing careers, getting my master's and becoming a professional counselor, everything she's been right there, standing beside me, standing behind me, sometimes kicking me in the butt, but she's been there.
And that's important, that you support either. And you have that goal, both of you having to be doing.
And because it's a family success.
Yeah.
And, as you are, coming close to finishing your degree and becoming an administrator, well, I mean, I'm pretty dang sure Eileen's cheering you on, going, yes. And
yeah, I mean, she's doing the same thing. So, she's, and I encouraged her to do that, and maybe too much so, but I know that she likes to college. She's enjoying it more than so. And my end goal there wasn't to. I know she likes education. I know she likes to learn. I know she likes I wasn't suggesting that she become.
Yeah.
Will she be qualified to do so? Will she be licensed to do so? Sure. Does she have to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally understand.
It doesn't have anything to do with whether she takes that route. It has everything more to she likes the learning that getting that.
And that, again, you're recognizing each other's strengths. You're pushing, encouraging, and celebrating success.
And I also think that, success is great, right? You talk about Sherry's success, and that's wonderful. But success can also drive a wedge, right? And you still have to keep the family. If you dive yourself into spending all your time in the success, get back and then end up lacking the communication that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
You might kill the relationship.
And that's kind of where I'd like to end, because these are things that can ruin a relationship. But if you recognize that things are beginning to happen that are creating some of these gulfs, these gaps, these wedges between you and your spouse, your significant other, start talking about them and hit them when they're small. Because communication, talking, oh my gosh, that was something that I learned absolutely the hard way. You've got to talk. And talk when you're not emotionally charged. Talk when the other person is open and receptive, like they're not busy or distracted, but you can actually have a conversation with each other so that way you can address it, whatever the problem might be. Maybe it's the financial issues or whatever the conflicts might be, or that unresolved argument that just keeps coming up and up.
The thing is, everybody has to talk to somebody, right?
Yes.
And so if your primary source for who to go to and talk to is your partner, your spouse, that's probably a good thing. If you cut that communication off and turn it into more of what's the weather today, and when are you
going to be home?
What are we going to eat? Or what show do you want to watch on TV?
Yes.
Something like that. Then everybody needs some emotional support, and so you're going to go get it somewhere else. And if you spend more time at work or certain groups of people, you're probably going to find that support there in one of those other places. And that person is probably going to be looking for support as well. You're dancing the devil, those kinds of things. You know what I mean?
Oh, well.
I mean, so it's just you need to have that communication and make sure that whatever the issue is being addressed.
I can't think of the name of the artist or the actual name of the song, but there's a lyric that says, looking for love in all the wrong places. So I'm with you.
Yeah, looking for love in too many.
Yes. Well, I want to throw in a quote from the article that resonated really strongly with me. And it says, strong relationships or marriages are not defined by the absence of problems, but by the presence of effective tools for managing those challenges together. And I think that's the key thing there, is you're going to work on them together. It can't be, well, that's a problem you fix. I'm too busy over here, or I don't have time, or, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Well, if it's addressing the relationship, it's a we problem. So,
hey, well, I mean, this is a great topic, and I think if we can end it here. What I'd like to know if any of the listeners have experienced any of these problems and what their stories that they might want to share, or have questions that we can address. And if you could email us the links, get in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, right. I guess then we'll call it a day. So until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Scott.
See ya.
Bye-bye.